And we are live. Hey, man.
Hey,
How are
how's
you?
it going? I'm doing good, man.
Fantastic. So, Instagram world, this is Mr. Ian Miller, all the way from Saskatoon, Canada.
Yeah. How are you?
Great. I'm great, man. I'm great. So, um, as we mentioned in the bio leading up to this, one thing that really impressed me about your whole campaign is the way that you're incorporating community into your legacy. Do you just want to first, start reaching out to people about what El Padre is and what it stands for?
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, like El Padre, kind of is just basically about, well, obviously my legacy, but the story that I kind of want to leave behind, obviously, and kind of where I came from a bit. So when I was young, I was, an athlete. I did college football. I was on the college track team. My whole goal throughout my life was to be a professional athlete. I got really close to that. And then at one point, I found out I was going to be a father while I was away at school, and fell into some pretty dark depression. Ended up dropping out of school, flipping my whole life upside down, and you know, had problems with sleeping pills and alcohol and other things at that time as well. And El Padre is about overcoming those struggles. Now I get to have this beautiful relationship with my son. Bartending has given me the opportunity to, travel the world and meet people, from Sweden and have this hangout online. And so it's just been such an amazing journey from where I began, falling into this and to coming out of it. And a lot of that has to do with, the support of my family, my friends, the bartending community as a whole, because like it is a family everywhere you go. If I could go to London right now and I'd have a place to sleep with guys that I've never met. And it's just such a amazing community. And, Saskatoon's a young bar community, I think, which is kind of a really interesting thing because, we hopefully get to learn from a lot of other mistakes and maybe skip some of the bad things that have happened elsewhere and hopefully build like a healthy bar community in Saskatchewan and hopefully, reach some people in Canada and all over the world as well. So.
That's a really refreshing take on a legacy. I know that a lot of past winners or just entrants and contestants, they focus on the adversity of the Bacardi family, and they focus
Yeah.
on hardships of people who aren't them necessarily. So it's refreshing to hear somebody open up and kind of showcase that open wound and document you coming through the other side of that.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. How's it being received, in your community?
Like definitely in Saskatchewan, like the rally around me, like in my campaign and my cocktail has been huge. For the most part, there's not a bar that can make a cocktail in Saskatoon or in even a couple smaller other towns in Saskatchewan that won't make you an El Padre if you go in there right now. And just even the online support from a lot of people who have shared their stories with me, even privately, through messages and stuff like that, has been really, really great. And on the back end of it, I've raised like a decent amount of money for the Movember side of things, which is the male suicide prevention, which is I think a really something that maybe doesn't get talked about at all. There's a lot of charities out there for a lot of different things, but I think for me, it's one that really just it hits home for me for sure.
Movember is one of those things. I'm an Australian by birth. I've only been in Sweden for a couple of years, but Movember is huge. Same thing as with Beyond Blue, and these organizations helping specifically men.
Yeah.
Like you, I'm a huge sport fan. Really into the NBA, and I've noticed there's a trend coming along that men are starting to open up a lot more about how serious this depression is and how serious life can be, and we don't handle it always in the best way. And one thing that really attracted me to you and to your drink is the fact that you're incorporating Movember, and you're incorporating this sense of, okay, my drink is bigger than just liquid in a glass.
Yeah.
And I think hats off to you for that, mate.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's a really great initiative, and it's something that I'm very proud of with Legacy. I'm proud to see that there's so many people out there that are involving charities, and
Yeah.
it's completely shifting the narrative of what bartenders are capable of doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think the really great thing about this competition is it gives people a platform to kind of talk about what's important to them, as well as it makes you focus on it a bit. Like these are things that have been important to me, like throughout my bartending community, throughout my bartending career, but I haven't ever focused in on them specifically. And I think this has been a really great thing for me to like focus in on some stuff that's been really important to me, and things that I want to see some change in. So
it's one of those things that the argument can be made. Okay, well, you're getting involved with these charities as part of your marketing campaign, and that's true. We do use
Yep.
Legacy for that reason. However, the social impact that comes from that, it's ginormous. There's people that are raising money to send water to places in need. Last year, Samia, he raised money for the Puerto Rican Relief Fund, and like no effort is small in this global effort. And if anyone that ends up watching this, if you do want to incorporate a charity, my advice would be you keep it on brand, of course.
Definitely.
You can't be talking about art and perspective and then donating to, I don't know, save the whales. Like it doesn't really, it doesn't play on brand. So there is a fine line in between there.
Yep.
But tell me about how you're using your platform to better your community.
Yeah, well, for the impact in Saskatchewan, I know we've gotten together recently. I run like a bartenders book club in Saskatoon, so we've just been kind of talking a lot about just some different things, like on the Facebook page, and when we do get together, about maybe just living a little bit of a healthier lifestyle. Because bartenders in general in North America, it's the 13th deadliest profession in North America. More bartenders die per year than police officers. And, so maybe just kind of going back to that and talking about, we need to, get more sleep, make sure you're getting exercise, make sure you're looking after yourself, just those important things is something that we've been talking about and a lot in Saskatchewan right now. And I think, it's a big thing globally. I was at Tails this summer, and like the whole thing about Tails was wellness and trying to make this a sustainable industry instead of something that is people are flashing in the pan. They'll do it for 4 or 5 years and then just completely burn out. And it's just El Padre has given me the kind of, I guess, credence to have a little bit more opportunity to talk about those things with people and a platform, I guess, to kind of share my thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. I was just down in London for the Bacardi Legacy PR boot camp, and one thing I noticed, there was about 40 competitors there from a number of different nations, and the majority of us were down there, and you could see that it was a business trip, right?
Yeah.
We have access to all the booze in the world, to all of the vices in the world, but people are starting to take it more seriously, and I think it's that this is a result of having a socially and communal conscious bartending world, which is great.
Yeah.
One person I'd love to direct you to, he goes by the name of Guy. His cocktail is Goodwill over in Israel. He's all about bartender wellness. He's all about fitness and keeping bartenders away from dangerous vices. I'd love to connect you guys up, and
Absolutely.
maybe there's a project in there for you guys to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great, man. Thank you.
It's cool to see. I'm a father as well. I've got 2 little babies. My journey to fatherhood was completely different. However, my drink Cubist, it focuses on perspective and how reality is fragmented through experience, right? So it's interesting to see you put your experience and your perspective and translate that into liquid form and to create a cocktail out of it. Do your ingredients, do they reflect that, or is it a completely different tangent?
No, like definitely, all the ingredients in my cocktail definitely reflect kind of a part of my story. So, I can run through the ingredients if you want. was, well, I'll start at the beginning, I guess. So the Benedictine that I put in my cocktail, it kind of talks about how life can be bittersweet. You know, it can be complex and hard, but there will always be kind of like a sweet side to the end of it. The Amontillado sherry, definitely a dry ingredient, kind of represents the dry and hard times that you might experience in your life. And then the fresh lime juice was a fresh start. Just to, you know, bartending was a fresh start. It was a new beginning to me. The smoked pineapple for me, pineapple has all along been the history of hospitality. It's been the symbol of hospitality internationally. So it was definitely an opportunity to share my love for, you know, interacting with people and interacting with, like, looking after people and giving them an experience that, you know, could make their day better or change how they're feeling. And the smoke aspect of it, you know, again, it kind of goes back to those parallels that, you know, you can't experience the good times without some of the bad. So the smoked pineapple, you know, reflects that, you know, it takes some work to experience some of the really good things in your life. And then the mint leaves represent my son. You know, spending time with him is, you know, what I do when I'm not here. It's either I'm at work or I'm hanging out with my son, and you know, the 6 mint leaves represent him. He's 6 years old now, and that kind of gives me the symbol of, like, you know, where I was 6 years ago to where I am now, and watching him grow like a weed is just like incredible for me personally. And then, you know, the Ocho is kind of the base, and it's, you know, complex, it's dark, but it's still tropical and light, and it just has these whole facets that make, you know, a person what they are, and tells the whole story, I think.
Man, that's a really concise, really beautiful, you know, in complex build for a cocktail. So congratulations, mate. That sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
You know, one thing that I'd love to get your perspective on, it's, you know, what could you tell people when you're dealing with such an emotional and such a charged concept? Because from my point of view, my cocktail, it's not emotionally heavy in any sense, and it's really broad. You know, anyone can grab hold of this and they can run with it. And the reason why I opted for that was because I didn't want to have something too emotional. I didn't want to have something that was very specific just to me, because I didn't feel that was, I myself couldn't market that out.
Right.
What advice would you give to people when it comes to dealing with something that's so close to home?
I think the big thing is be prepared to be in some uncomfortable situations. You know, there has been a lot of, like, real conversations that have come from this that maybe I was or wasn't prepared for. You know, bringing up some, you know, issues that, you know, you still might be working on or might not be working on. When you do something that, you know, close to home and about, you know, a situation that can be so touchy to, you know, so many people, you have to make sure that you're towing the line very carefully of how you present it, and make sure, like, I hate to say these words, like, always, like, repeating it, but make sure you're staying on brand with what your story is, and you know, with what you don't want to insult anybody. You know, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and you know, this is I mean, for me, it is a pretty heavy subject, and, you know, even, like, just telling the story right now, I kind of get a little bit emotional in my chest just kind of talking about it. So you have to make sure that you're being careful with how you present everything, for sure.
And I think, you know, for anyone that watches this and is thinking about taking that emotionally charged route, it needs to be authentic. You know, I think we as a society now, especially having the modes of communication that we have, you can sift through bullshit pretty quickly. And you know, down in London, I met a lot of these marketing gurus and a lot of these ambassadors, and that was one thing that they really harped on. You have to be authentic, because one thing that they don't appreciate competitors, you know, riding on the back of something that isn't real or that isn't them, because that's not what a legacy should be built on.
That's right. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. You know, it has to be something that you're passionate about, And for me, there's nothing more passionate than, you know, creating a community that my son would be happy to live in. And that's, you know, what I've been working towards, and that's what I, you know, put all these long hours in for. And, you know, maybe I don't see him as much as I would like to, but, you know, hopefully that my work will, you know, someday pay off in a way that he can actually, you know, see the difference, right?
It's an incredible thing. I encourage anyone that watches this, get involved in Legacy. Legacy is, you know, even making it to the top 3. You know, nothing has been set in stone. No one is guaranteed a win for anything. But if you enjoy and if you take advantage of each step that this competition has to offer you, like top 3 is a massive, like it's a massive platform to spring a career off. So
absolutely,
really give it a go.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about community as well. You know, community is a big thing for me and for my drink. But in a completely different format, and you know, using different perspectives and using a different, completely different experience. I live 2.5 hours south of Stockholm. I live in this tiny little city with a population of about 90,000 people. You know, Saskatoon, you say it's a burgeoning cocktail scene. Well, Norrköping in Sweden is not. You know, and you know they're just now starting to warm up to the idea of having something apart from a rum and coke. And I'm using Cubist Cocktail as a platform to show people, you know, what you deserve. You know, I'm doing a lot of art shows. I'm doing a lot of appearances around town. And I'm trying to incorporate my community in a completely different sense, and I'm trying to activate them to get involved in the greater community. What are you doing with El Padre to get your community involved?
Well, definitely like kind of getting involved with the bartenders on their level, and just kind of getting, you know, like I said, we're an up and coming bar community in Saskatoon, but definitely we're still in that rum and coke. Like we're still we're still a pretty small town, in the sense of like we do have a lot of people driving in from small towns to come in, and we do get a lot of like rum and coke and pilsners, and then that's just to kind of do. And it's like in terms of the community, I just want to show people, you know, from Saskatoon that it is possible to, you know, do things outside of Saskatoon in the bar community. You know, so I've been doing a lot of guest interaction things. You know, I've been doing a lot of like industry nights for the bartenders to get together. You know, just trying to get everybody on the same page of like what's possible. You know, where can you go? You know, I've been lucky enough in the last, you know, 12 months to, you know, go to Paris, to London. You know, I'm going to Puerto Rico in a couple of weeks, just off of bartending, and it's just involving, you know, the guest when they come in and telling the story of, you know, this is what's possible. You know, this is the level that, you know, people can get to in this profession, you know, to show that it is something more than, you know, more than just, you know, getting wasted in a pub, you know, off of $250 shooters, you know, like it can be so much more than that. Right. Like, and so trying to convince, you know, the bartenders to get involved. You know, we don't have a lot of competition interaction in Saskatoon. We, like, all of our good bartenders end up leaving to Vancouver, or they go to Calgary, they go to, you know, Toronto, they go to the larger media centers. And, you know, I want to show that it is possible to, you know, have that same feel, but in a market like Saskatchewan. So I've been meeting with a lot of bartenders and just kind of trying to give back to them a little bit, and just show what, you know, things can happen through platforms like Bacardi. And absolutely,
you know, and I think, you know, you're talking about having opportunities that you never would have had prior to this. And that's kind of leads back to when I'm asking you, go and get involved with Goodwill in Israel. You know, you using people around you to benefit each other, and to increase the community. I think that's such a ginormous part, and it's a reason why I wanted to do these hangouts. And I want to do these hangouts for 3 reasons. I wanted to help my marketing campaign, of course. I wanted to meet people, and I wanted to help people, right? And the best way that I could do that with my situation was taking this online. And you know, you're my 13th hangout.
That's awesome.
out of 73 to come.
73.
It's a lot, man. It's
That's
a lot.
crazy.
But what I find is, you know, there's this red thread through all these competitors, and you know, they all share this sense of, yeah, I'm here for the community. I'm here. You know, the community as a micro, as a bartending world, and as a macro for where we live.
Yep.
So, you know, for anyone that watches this, I really encourage you, go out there, you know, make contacts with people, find people who share the same story or something similar to you, and join forces. There's nothing wrong, you know. I'm not getting tested against Ian Miller in Saskatoon. You know, I'm getting tested against my own market. You know, I really think, you know, going out there. One thing I found was when I started doing these hangouts, people were asking me, why are you getting other people involved? You know, like, why would you promote El Padre? And then I thought to myself, like, but why should it matter? You know, if I succeed through your success, you know, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, I just recently, I mean, this week I've been featuring Mel Nuevo Sol from Los Angeles. Had a chance to kind of interact with her a fair bit and see her campaign and what she's doing. And just kind of going back and forth with her, and even people at my restaurant were like, "Why are you selling her drink? Like that means you're just selling less of your own." And I'm like, "Well, it just kind of gives the people a good base of like what's possible with Bacardi. You know, what's possible in these cocktail competitions. You know, a completely different look. And if it gives people, you know, time to look at her, you know, story, her Instagram, her, you know, platform, then, you know, chances are they're going to come back and forth and check out mine more as well. And it just is a good opportunity to start conversations with guests, like on a personal level while you're talking to them. You know, lots of times they ask me to come over to the table and talk to them about the drink. And, you know, it gives me a good opportunity to be like, yeah, this is one of my competitors and this is mine. And, you know, this is her platform. And you get to have some real conversations with people instead of just like trying to constantly just like lambast it down people's throat all the time of this one story, one mode, because there is so many other different perspectives to it.
Absolutely, man. And, you know, again, for people that are watching this, I think that's the lifeblood. You know, it's the lifeblood of this competition, and for us as individuals, if you're helping out, you know, we're so heavily connected. You know, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You know, there's legacy contenders every year, just completely spread out and spamming the world. Yeah. And one thing that I'm not about just simply spamming my customers and people who interact with me on a daily basis about Cubist Cocktail. I love my cocktail. I'm proud of my cocktail. But I also want to, like you said, I want to showcase other people. And what I find is that there's nothing negative that comes from that.
No.
You know, so next week I'm gonna put your drink on, and you know, people will end up asking me, yeah, but why are you helping, you know, old mate out? And you're like, okay, but you can't have 4 Cubist cocktails in a row. You're gonna hate me.
Yeah.
You know, like try something different. You can always come back to, you know. Hell, you might hate both of our drinks and go back to a rum and coke, and that's
exactly right. Yeah, but at least you tried some different stuff, you know, and then you know for next time like what's good and what's not. Yeah. So I made your cocktail yesterday, by the way. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. The photo looked amazing, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Did you take that?
That's it's my first week with my new camera, so I'm just kind of messing around with it to check it out. New hobby for me, I think.
Man, that was a beautiful photo. I showed my partner and I told her, like, fuck, man, like this guy's taking better photos than I'm taking of my own.
Just got lucky, man.
So tell me a little bit about the process leading up to come up with the concept of El Padre. Was it something that you knew that you wanted to do, or was it kind of a last minute thing? And I guess I'll preface this by saying the reason why I ask is because generally there's two schools of thought on the matter. You've already prepped. You know what the story is going to be. You know what the thread is going to be. And you're ready to go from the moment entries open up. Or 2, entries open up and you're playing with 16 different ideas, and none of them seem right until the last week.
Yeah. So I've entered Bacardi Legacy, I think, 2 times now. I didn't get past the submission round in either one. And I did it the way that you said, in terms of like, I had a bunch of ideas. I had this like idea of a story, but I had this thing, but I didn't ever actually put it together. And then so right after submissions ended last year and I didn't get in, I went to work on creating my cocktail for this upcoming year. So my cocktail's actually been on menu for, I think, almost 10 months at my restaurant now.
Smart, man. Really smart.
So it's been on menu for almost 10 or 11 months, and I think I had it finalized and ready to go by last January, February, somewhere along those lines, where I actually sat down and went through the story, and I went through ingredient by ingredient what I wanted to say with my cocktail, and then just made sure that the balance was there and all the other things that you would do for any other cocktail.
Man, that's really smart, and I think that in this entire hangout, I think that's the golden nugget for people to take away. That, mate, you got to be prepared, and if you're prepared, Victor favors those who are ready and set to go. And I'm sure those sales, those numbers, that's going to help you in the long run. And I think that's a really intelligent thing to do. Congratulations, man.
Yeah. No, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It'll definitely help. And like the one thing that, you're in a smaller market as well. It's just, it comes down to, units sold. And, I look at some of the other people's, presentations from, London, and it's like, oh, they sold 1,600 cocktails at their one location, and then they were on list at 30 locations. It's like, I won't ever reach those, those numbers here, just because the volume of cocktails is just not going to be the same as those cities. But, if you focus in on, what is important about it, then I think you can, find a way to balance that out, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I've already started playing around for some ideas for next year as well. It's never too early to start, because as bartenders we're generally pretty lazy, or ill prepared, maybe is the best word for it. So just don't fall down that trap, and you should be sweet. Absolutely. So, man, is there anything else you wanted to shout out? Anything you wanted to promote on your end at all?
No, man. That was good, man. I covered it. That was good.
That's fantastic, man. Like I said in that bio, it's really nice to hear a Canadian voice. I know you're dealing with Caitlin Wilkes a little bit.
Yep.
Shout out to Caitlin if she ever ends up watching this. She's been a huge help for me personally. Yep. She was the past winner in Sweden. Yep. And I hit her up one day and I asked her, hey, can you help me? And without a second of thought, she's just sent me over everything that she had done. And she was a massive help. So again, that goes back to, helping your community, helping those behind you, to better advance everyone. And I suppose we can all be radical thinking padres, no?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool, man. Well, hey, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for this, man. It's been great.
I don't know if it's too early for you to drink out there in Canada.
Yeah, I gotta open up the restaurant here in about 2 hours, so a little early for me.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have a little shot for you.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
It's kind of a little tradition that we do here. But,
okay, wait, hold on 1 second then. Hold on.
So while we wait for him, of course, we've got to do the Instagrams. So it's super cool speaking to Ian, actually. We've been going back and forth for a couple of weeks now, and
ran away on you. Hey.
Thank you. So, Ian, here's to you, my friend.
Here's to you, brother.
Here's to Cubist. Here's to El Padre. And here's to seeing you in Amsterdam.
Yeah, in Amsterdam, my friend. Cheers.
Hello. Delicious, man. Absolutely delicious.
Yes, sir.
So, bud, let's do this again real soon.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Ideally, before your national finals. When is that?
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
we'll do a recap.
Yeah. I'm just I'm basically winding down now. So this is the last home stretch, just kind of finalizing everything and putting in the presentation and getting ready to go. So
Cool, man.
How long do you guys have?
Until 11th of March.
11th of March. Nice.
So still got some time, some run-ups. So if there's anything I can do to help you in that 2.5 week span,
sure.
man, just please let me know. I'll link you in with Goodwill, and
That'd be
hopefully you guys can do a last-minute project.
That'd be awesome, man. Thank you.
Cool, buddy. Well, man, hey, Happy New Year, and I send you all the love in the world.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, bro.
Take care.
Cheers. Ciao.
Cheers.